You are about to participate in a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind.
With the emergence of global internet, a human population of several billions, an electronic noosphere, that we are now within the shadow of this transcendental object at the end of time.
I find it a little difficult to say what the subject matter is going to be, because
Logic is an enemy and truth is a menace.
Shake and bake, steps back, three-pointer, bang!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome, as always, to another fine episode of the Midnight Variety Hour. I'm your host, Tom, joined as always by my lovely co-host,
Mr. Adam.
Adam. How are you doing today?
I'm great, man.
It's a beautiful day outside, and I'm not sure when you're going to be listening to this, but if you're listening to it anytime soon, the MLB playoffs are currently happening. As it stands today, we are waiting on Game 3 of the Astros and Red Sox ALCS series, and we were just talking about it, and I thought you guys might like to get in on the conversation. We are joined by a fellow baseball lover, radio man, all around just great guy, Steve Robison. Mr. Robison,
Yes.
how you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you guys for having me. We were talking about baseball. Let me just jump into this real quick.
Yeah.
Braves up 2-0
I know.
over
Double
the
walk-offs.
Dodgers. Yes.
Walk-offs in back-to-back games.
And I'm very excited about this because as a Houston Astro fan, I want the Dodgers to lose
I know.
so bad.
I hate them so much.
Because they
just,
are the biggest whiners.
They are just fucking crybaby whiners. Yeah. Oh, I hate that team. I've never liked the Dodgers. Like, even before, the whole little, Astros-Dodgers rivalry, but now I cannot stand them. And the fact that they got walked off on twice is so satisfying. I hope it happens again.
I do too.
I kind of want to play them just so we can beat them again.
They're a tough team.
I know.
I mean, they're very talented.
Yeah.
I respect their talent, but I want them to lose very bad.
And I think it'd be fun to see the Braves make the World Series. I don't know when the last time they were in the World Series was.
Oh Lord,
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. So it would be really cool to see them get in. The Astros had a wild game the last time they were out.
The Astros, in my opinion, and I've been a fan since I was 2, they're in trouble because our pitching is really in a tough spot.
Yeah. And I mean, it doesn't really matter how hot your bats are if you're just giving up runs left and right. I mean, 2 grand slams in the first and second innings.
And it's
They were down
never happened before.
8-0 in the second inning. Yeah.
And then it became 9-0.
9-0. Yeah.
And, I mean, we have the offense, but our pitching is really an issue with Lance McCullers out. And I don't know maybe you guys can answer this. What is up with Zach Greinke?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is he going to start? Is he?
Because I've seen them
I
bring
know
him in
he's
as
on.
a reliever.
He's on the playoff roster.
Yeah.
Is he hurt?
I don't know if he's just not at 100%. Because they'll bring him in as a
He's
reliever.
old, but I mean,
he's still got it as a starter, at least in my opinion.
remember a couple of years ago, maybe it was last year, but when he was just dealing, and Dusty Baker pulled him out.
I mean, he was.
Yeah, I remember that game.
He stays in the game.
Everyone was questioning, like, what the hell is that?
Why are you pulling him out?
Yeah.
So now my question is, why aren't you putting him in?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, if I firmly believe if they didn't pull him, the Astros win that game. But whatever. Lance McCullers is out. I'm not sure what his injury is, but I went to Game 1 of the ALDS and I saw him pitch, and he looked amazing. I mean, he was just working, and so it's a huge shame that we don't have him. I think the Astros are in a tough spot. I think maybe they can steal one at Fenway.
You have to. There's no option. If we don't steal one, it's over.
Well, my thing is that we had to go to Fenway 2-0.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We are not. And that scares me.
Yeah, that's tough.
All right.
Well, yeah, baseball is
okay.
definitely
That's
interesting.
been baseball talk.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's our baseball segment. Now to the meat and potatoes of why we are really here, Steve. I don't know how many of how many episodes of this show you've listened to, or if you know really what we do here. It's really formatless, but the one thing that remains the same is that we try to talk to people that we find to have interesting occupations or takes on life, hobbies, passions. And I think you've lived a really interesting life. You've been in radio for a long time. You probably have a myriad of stories to tell. So I wanted to start today by asking you, when did you know you wanted to get into radio, and what made you choose that path for yourself?
I went to Texas Tech, and they had
Raiders.
Yes, and they had a great communications program, and they still do. But I knew I wanted to do media. I didn't know if it was going to be journalism or something else. But then I was invited to join the Texas Tech radio station. I was asked to see if I could be a host, and I did, and I fell in love with it. So
Nice.
I've been doing it ever since.
Yeah. It's very similar to my story, except for I didn't know I wanted to go into media until I got to college and I got to my school's communications program, which was great. And I got on our college radio station, and I was like, this is pretty fun. And I had my little 1-hour show that they let me do. And it's insane that they were just like letting college kids be on the radio that probably should not have been in control of a radio station, but we all had little 1-hour shows. And then I wound up being the play-by-play guy for the Bearcats football team. And then after that, I was sold. I was like, yeah, this is
Sam Houston?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sam Houston State Bearcats.
Nice.
I was the play-by-play guy for the football team in 2016 and 2017. Go Bearcats, FCS champions. And yeah, radio is really
Okay.
fun. It's really fun.
No, it
And,
is fun. And what was interesting at Texas Tech is that anyone could be on the radio at their station. So here I am. I'm like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
But I had to put my name in the hat, and finally my name got drawn, and then I was able to grow from there. So
Yeah. Did you find yourself nervous at first when you first got on the
God,
radio?
Absolutely.
Because you have like the iconic radio voice. Like were you born with that? Did you like have to develop your?
No, I just do my thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And so now, Adam, you've kind of made your way into radio, but you probably had no intentions of ever like going into this field, right?
No, it's just like those weird synchronicities that happen. Like, but I always love like kind of like the arts of like anything really, just like the creative craft, just being creative and understanding like how to use different forms to, create, and your voice is one of them, and knowing how to talk and speak to different audiences and have fun doing it. Yeah, it's been really cool. And all thanks to Steve. He's my teacher and mentor. He's taught me everything I know.
Yeah.
Both you guys sound really good.
Thank you.
On the
I appreciate
radio.
that. We are Padawans. You are humble leader. So thank you for, all the training you've given us. We've talked about it before, how it's very rare in the radio industry to find a place where you can just like work one-on-one and be mentored by an experienced radio talent. Like sort of me and Adam's careers as, voice talent on air is not really the industry standard. We kind of have a rare experience working here that other people do. I know radio is a lot different than it probably was when you first got started in it. How different have you noticed it to be now than it was when you jumped into radio as a young guy?
Wow, that's a big question. It's completely different.
Yeah.
Sadly, radio, terrestrial radio, is it's not how it used to be, if you will. And I don't want to sound like get off my lawn guy, but it's completely different, because before, when you guys were growing up, it's like, what's your favorite radio station? And you would say a
Right.
radio station.
And you knew the guys on there,
Yeah.
and it had like a soul to it, and you loved it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I don't know who's on the radio.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's radio?
Exactly. And I listen to,
Spotify.
local radio, and I hear things, and it's like, it's just, there's no, I guess soul is the best word for it.
Yeah.
There's no passion.
Yeah.
Because it's being programmed from somebody in North Dakota for Houston, and it's just not as there's not that community
Right.
feeling that we once had.
Yeah, and everything now I feel is so digital, whereas like back in the day, people were actually spinning records in the booth.
Yes.
You know, like you were actually being like a DJ, you know, like you were a jock that was in there playing the records, actually spinning them, switching them over when it was time for the next track. And now it's just like, all right, I'll drag this song up to here, and then, we'll go in after this. And here, with us doing things, over the internet and stuff like that, we can re-record breaks if we don't like the way they sound, or if you mess up, you can just go, I'll blow that out and take it again. And that's just something I know I would have never experienced 20 years ago.
See, that's
10 years ago.
That's the one thing that for you two, and you guys sound great on the air here at RFC, but I would love to put you into a live studio.
Yeah.
And I would love for you to do a live break. Because you haven't.
Right.
And it's not your fault. It's just nature of the beast. But when you're on the air and you're live, and if you mess up, if you fuck up a break, excuse me, can I say?
No, you can say all the fucks you want.
If you fuck up a break,
if you say fuck accidentally,
you just gotta keep going. And that's one thing that I wish you guys could experience.
Yeah, me too.
It's got to be a different, like, kind of adrenaline rush at the same time. Like, you probably feeling like, you get the nerves probably come, especially from the first time doing it, or at least the first 10, 20 times doing it. You got to get that rush, you know what I mean? Come in and feel like, oh, shit.
I would walk out of the studio after my 4-hour shift, and I would be sweating.
Right.
Because, it's a workout.
Yeah.
And, we have the luxury, and I see it as it's good because we have computers and whatnot, but it's also bad because it makes jocks lazy.
Yeah. Now you can just be in your office eating a fucking cheeseburger, take a bite.
Yeah.
Lay down a track, take another bite,
and
sip your your Dr.
and
Pepper.
I'm guilty of that because I've been through both sides. I love to sweat it out and be editing tape and whatnot. But then I've also been on the other side where it's like I recorded my break and now I can go have that cheeseburger like you're talking about. So
you've earned it though. You've been through the ringer. You've earned your right to take it easy. We're just fucking lucky.
No, but I miss the sweating it out.
Yeah. And I'm sure like going to places and doing live broadcasts at events was, really awesome. I'm sure you did a lot of that in your time. Did you go to like a lot of live, sitting outside of a stadium before a concert or something like that and doing a broadcast from there? Yeah. I'm sure you've got all kinds of experience. I'm sure you've met some cool bands. I'm sure you've what's like one of your coolest radio experiences or coolest people you've gotten to talk to? I'm sure you got a load of them.
I do.
Yeah.
Coolest. Well, this was. Let me think here. I'm sorry, Tom. I have a ton.
No, it's
of
okay.
them.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Probably one time we were broadcasting live outside what is now it used to be the Verizon Wireless Theater. What is it now?
I think it's called 713 something.
I don't know. They change it all the time.
Anyway, when this venue...
The one downtown, yeah?
When this venue opened, it's changed names like 7 times.
Yeah.
But when it opened, Jane's Addiction came through.
Damn, cool band.
That
Very
was
cool
the
band.
first show that was ever at the Verizon... I'm going to call it the Verizon Wireless. And they came through, and they played. The building wasn't even done yet. I mean, there were still plastering and whatnot to be done. And I'll never forget Dave Navarro from Jane's.
Yeah.
He came backstage and he had a welt on the side of his head, and I'm like, what the hell happened? Because I was on the air,
Right.
and I was like, Dave, you okay? He's like, no, some motherfucker, hit me, so I hit him back, and blah 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 blah. And I was like, holy shit! And he goes, nah, I'm just kidding. I hit my head with my guitar, so he clocked himself in the head. But numerous stories. I guess my favorite band that I've ever dealt with, and I still deal with, if you will, is Matchbox 20.
Great band. Amazing band.
Great band, and they're probably the most humble guys I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
Because I saw them. They came in what's called a conference room tour, where they're literally going from radio station to radio station, and they play in your conference room.
Mm-hmm.
And when they played, just acoustically, and they played, I had a feeling. I said, this is going to be a really big band.
Yeah.
So I lobbied to get their song on the air at my radio station, and we got it on. And sure enough, they just started to slowly build and build.
Yeah.
And their first sold out show ever was in Houston. Of course, it was for 400 people,
Wow.
but it was sold out.
Yeah.
And they were ecstatic,
Right.
because they had a quote sold out show. And but I would interview them, and they would. Rob Thomas would call me, say,
crazy.
"Hey, man," and it wasn't like kiss ass. It was
Right,
just
right.
it was genuine.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, he was just a nice guy.
He's just like a real guy.
Yeah, and they played. I put on BuzzFest for years and years when I was at 94.5 The Buzz, and I got them to headline. And people were like, "You're crazy. Why do you
Yeah.
want them to headline?" I said, "I guarantee they're going to be huge."
Yeah.
And sure enough, when the show rolled around, they were number one across the board.
That is crazy.
So-
I can't imagine seeing a band that goes on to be like, an arena-filling band when they only had like 400 people in the audience. I can't imagine that.
Especially today.
Yeah, I know. Like, imagine going to, The Weeknd just had his 10th anniversary of his first ever concert, and I saw a video of it, of his first ever show, and it was just like in this small little shitty venue. Can you imagine seeing The Weeknd in a room of just like 75 other people?
Yeah.
And now he's like performing at halftime at the Super
Yeah.
Bowl. I just can't imagine that. But everyone started like that for the most
Yeah.
part. That is so crazy.
Yeah, the only person I've ever got to see who started off where I got to see their show where they weren't big yet was Chance the Rapper at
Really?
Warehouse Live.
Yeah.
And I think it was, I don't know if it was sold out, but it was definitely a good amount of people there, but it's maybe 300-400 people,
Yeah.
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 And now he's obviously like every tour he ever goes on for the rest of his life is going to be arenas, right?
Yeah, it's going to be arenas, and they're going to be sold
and
out.
he opened up for Mac Miller. Like he wasn't even the
that's
headliner.
crazy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that's just crazy to see. It's like, okay, it's just some kid maybe making music, and then all of a sudden he's just massive.
Right.
It's crazy to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever seen anyone like that. The only thing I would say that's close to that is I met Kendrick Lamar when he was like nobody.
Yeah.
I met Kendrick Lamar at a small meet and greet at West Oaks Mall off Highway 6 and West Town. And now he is arguably the biggest rapper of all time. You know what I mean? So that's pretty insane. But I mean, that's got to be crazy because you've actually like talked to these bands and interviewed them. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's just an experience that not a lot of people will ever have. I hope one day my radio career leads me to interviewing some bands. You ever met any bands that are just like dickheads?
Yes.
Lots of them?
Several.
Would you say it's more common for them to be like kind of shitty guys than them be genuine, down-to-earth, nice guys?
Well, you got to take it with a grain of salt because, when, and I know that, fans, they want to meet their heroes, if you will, their bands. But for us, it was part of the job.
Right.
And you wouldn't want to, take it for granted. And you want to meet people and say, hey, but we were just doing our thing. Like, hey, Tom, good to see you. Okay, you're going to be over here, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But there were several bands that I've dealt with that were not pleasant.
Yeah.
But, do you want me to...
If you don't have to name any names, but if you want to.
I will not say that the violent films. I will not say anything else.
Okay. Man, that's kind of heartbrearking.
They
like,
were the biggest assholes I've ever
Really?
dealt with in my life. Yes.
that bad?
Yeah. Damn. Real bad.
I'm always nervous to like meet people that I enjoy the work of, or like music artists, or I've met a few athletes, and I'm always like so
Never
nervous.
meet your heroes.
I know, it's scary. It's really scary.
But here's another thing with like people who are in bands or just artists in general. Some of them are just like purely putting on an act, right?
Well,
They're just like
you
acting
also,
out a role.
But also keep in mind, sometimes you're having a bad day.
Yeah, that too.
It happens.
That too.
I
Sure.
mean,
Sure.
you can't be on
Yeah.
100% of
Yeah.
the time. So
Yeah. So I feel like some of those guys, like they have an image, and when they come in to do an interview or anything that's going to be revolved around their career, they gotta, all right, now I gotta play my role. Now I gotta play whatever image I've created, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know. Like, I think of like punk rockers or like people who have, or anyone. Maybe they play the bad guy, like they're or something like that. I don't
Right.
know.
Yeah. They're like some, edgy type character, and then it's like they're probably just like a really nice guy who's
Exactly.
not
all right,
hardcore at all.
perfect example. I'm at the Buzz, and I'm doing afternoons, and Third Eye Blind is coming through town.
Another huge band.
Yeah.
So they're coming in, and the record rep calls me, says, "Do you want to have an interview, on-air interview?"
How
I'm
big
like,
are they at this point?
It was right when their album was exploding.
Okay.
So they were getting up there.
Sure.
They were playing at the Verizon, whatever
That damn venue.
they're
again.
calling it again.
Yeah.
But it was sold out. And so that holds about 3,000. But then the next time, because they ended up headlining BuzzFest a couple years later, and that's 17,000. But Third Eye Blind, they call me and they say, "Do you want to do an on-air interview?" And I'm like, "Of course, yeah, that'd be great." And my record rep says, "Okay, I'm going to bring anyone else but Steven, the lead singer, because he's kind of quirky. You don't know what you're going to get." So sure enough, day of the interview comes, and here comes and we're in like a glass partition booth, so I can see people walking around. And here comes my record rep, and here comes Steven.
The one guy you
The
weren't
one guy
preparing to talk to.
The one guy that she said,
Yeah.
I don't want him to do the
Because
interview.
he just wasn't a good interviewee.
He was just evidently. I didn't know. But
Yeah.
evidently he didn't want to do it.
Right.
So sure enough, he walks in, and he's very cocky, and I meet him, and then we go on the air, and it was hands down the best interview I ever had.
Wow.
He was fantastic.
Yeah.
Because I would ask one question, and he would just go off.
And you would just let him.
And I was like, "Hey, do your thing."
Yeah.
He was awesome. And matter of fact, he and I, for whatever reason, we hit it off. So the next time they came through, he specifically asked if I would interview him again.
Wow.
So it was just fun.
That's
so you
crazy.
never know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Well, you're also a likable guy. You
No, I
know,
try.
You're
but
easy to get along with.
Yeah,
Do you have any of those old interviews saved anywhere?
Yes.
Yeah,
I
nice.
do.
I would love to hear them.
Yeah. Well,
That'd be cool.
Most of them are me laughing. And
Yeah.
because some of these guys would just go, like I said, Steven, he would go on these tears.
Yeah.
And you would just, I would throw my questions away. It's like, I'm done.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, go
That's
ahead.
awesome.
No,
Yeah.
no, I say, I'm a hoarder, if you will,
Yeah.
in terms of radio. I save all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, as you should. You never got starstruck or anything like that when you were talking to these guys, or like find yourself being like, I'm talking
Oh,
to
God,
the
yes.
front guy of some
Yes.
huge band. Yeah.
For the most part, it's part of our gig, but there are 3 bands that I always wanted to meet. AC/DC, check, I did. REM, yes, and The Who. I've not met The Who, but
There's still time.
yeah, I'm hoping. But you talk about being starstruck. When I met REM, I was Michael Stipe came up, where I was standing, and I had a poster for him to sign, and he's like, I'm just standing there holding this poster, and he's looking at me like, "Do you want me to sign this?" And I was like, and he's like, I think
Okay.
I creeped him out.
Yeah.
But he signed it. But I don't want to go fanboy.
Yeah.
I try to be professional, but sometimes you can't help it.
Yeah.
You're a fan.
Yeah. Michael Stipe is great. And he's maybe kind of an awkward guy, right? Like he
He's very awkward.
Yeah.
No, he's very
Yeah.
he's very eccentric.
Yeah. What a great band, though. I love REM
Yeah,
so
me too.
much. Such a good band. That's so crazy. Adam, if you, what would you say your top 3 bands to meet would be? Like, it's pretty hard to top AC/DC, The Who, and REM.
Probably like Roger Waters.
Damn. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. Shit, man. That's tough. I mean, I'd definitely love to meet Kid Cudi. Haven't met him yet.
Yeah.
One of my favorite artists ever. Damn. But bands, yeah. I mean, I love everything Pink Floyd. You know, I don't know.
I
it's
would
too
like to
many.
meet David Gilmour.
Yeah, David Gilmour would be awesome.
That would be cool.
be fucking awesome. I would
Yeah.
love to meet the entire band. Well, what's left, but yeah, I don't know, man. There's so many to pick from, dude.
I think if I could meet anyone and just
Yeah.
sit down and talk to him, I really want to just sit down and talk to Dave Grohl, like really badly,
Yeah.
because I just know
I've done that.
you've talked to Dave Grohl.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
No.
What year was this?
Oh, it was years ago.
Like Nirvana Dave Grohl?
No. It was Foo Fighters Dave Grohl because they headlined BuzzFest 98, 90. I don't remember what year it was.
Shit.
But
you
it was,
talked to like all of Foo Fighters or just Grohl?
It was just Dave.
Okay.
But it was so funny because he was backstage and it was just him. The band was doing their thing. And we're like, shaking hands. Hey, thanks for coming, blah, blah, blah. Because we every time we did a show, we would give each member of the bands backpacks.
Mm-hmm.
And they had embroidered backpacks and they had like toiletries and whatnot in there. And we'd give them to them. And so I'm sitting there talking to him. And I was, hey, man, thank you so much for coming. He's like, okay, yeah, great to see you. I got to stretch. So he jumped up. This is backstage at the Woodlands. He jumped up. There's like, plumbing, the pipes.
Yeah.
And he's like hanging up there. How he got up there, I have no idea. But he's like stretching.
What the hell?
Yeah. Then he went on stage.
Good stretching is very important.
And they
That's
killed
awesome.
it. They killed it.
Dude, I love him. Foo Fighters are so great. I love Dave Grohl a lot as a person. I don't know if you've seen this book or this project that him and his mother are doing, From Cradle to the Stage. Mm-hmm. It's like where they sit down and talk to other rock stars' moms.
Yeah.
And I think that is the coolest,
Yeah.
Really, really
Yeah,
interesting.
because then you get that behind the scenes stories.
It's like,
you'll
how
never
did
hear.
these people turn out
Yeah.
the way? Because rock stars are just like, they're their own breed.
Oh, yeah.
It's like they're
Oh,
just
yeah.
a weird enigma. So it's really cool to see like where they came from.
For sure.
I'd like to sit down with Dave Grohl's mom. I'm sure that would be a great
Well,
conversation.
I admire her because she was a public school teacher, and my mom was a principal. She was in the education system for 42 years, but Dave Grohl's mom, when Dave went to her and said, "Hey, I want to go on the road," and she said, "Yeah," so he dropped out of school, and she agreed to it.
Yeah,
That's
he was,
probably the most
he was
wild
young.
part.
And imagine like your son is joining a band like Nirvana, like so crazy. I mean, because he wasn't in it originally,
Right.
and so here's this band that is making this fucking loud garagey shit, that's just like so
Yeah.
abrasive.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm gonna drop out of school and go play in this grunge band,
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, and look where he is now.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, it's really crazy. So that's a lot of your experiences that we got to talk about, which is really cool. But I wanted to talk to you about something that's happening right now, which is your time and involvement with Third Rock Radio. And I wanted to give Third Rock some exposure because, one, it's the 10-year anniversary this year.
Yes,
But two, I feel like a lot of people that listen to this podcast would be interested in Third Rock Radio because we talk about space a lot on this show.
For sure.
We talk about music a lot on this show.
A lot of
And
UFOs.
a lot of UFOs. Mainly it's the UFOs, not so much space. Mainly it's the UFOs. I'll admit that. But Third Rock Radio is a radio station that we do here for NASA. It's the official radio station of NASA. It's an amazing blend of new music discovery and science and space information. So, you've been working with Third Rock for a long time. Just tell us about, your time with Third Rock, because you've talked to astronauts.
Yeah.
And that's like a whole different breed than talking to rock stars. I mean, we're talking about people that have been.
I know.
Those are the ultimate rock stars.
No, that's
man.
what I was
Yeah.
going to say because, yes, I've had the great opportunity to interview musicians and rock stars, what have you. But when you talk to somebody who's been on the moon
That's
or
insane.
been into space,
Yeah.
it's like, damn,
Yeah.
that's hardcore.
Yeah. And the music on Third Rock is so great. And I feel like, if people don't know about Third Rock Radio or haven't listened to it before, would you just describe it as, the best new alternative rock out there? Like, how would you sum up the music profile of Third Rock?
I think you nailed it because we do play cutting edge music, and the goal is to give people who are listening to us right now is like, yes, you're going to get the best new music first, but also you're going to learn a lot about what NASA is up to.
Right.
We are the biggest cheerleader for NASA because there's so much going on with NASA, especially right now, because we're going to be launching to the moon in 2024 and hopefully to Mars, not too far behind that. And there's so many projects and missions going on
every day.
And a lot of people just it kind of becomes wallpaper to them. They don't realize what's happening. So the intention for Third Rock is to not only give you great music, but also give you great information on what NASA is up to.
Yeah. And I think space and space flight, it's like at a new high, because there was a lull for a while in that gap between like the end of the space shuttle program, but now commercial space flight is taking off. We're looking at going back to the moon. We're looking at getting to Mars in the near future. Launches are happening all the time. We have civilian crews going into space. Richard Brandt's billionaires are just launching themselves into space, and it's like we are in a very captivating time for space flight and discovery. And so I think young people are getting involved in being interested in space at a record rate right now. And so it's a perfect time for Third Rock Radio. It's a perfect time for people to be listening to it. And 10 years, 10 is a huge accomplishment.
Well, and that's the key, is that we want young people to really pay attention to what NASA is doing, because not only is it exciting, but also there's a lot of great opportunities for young kids who are maybe in high school or junior high. There's internships with NASA. There are STEM programs with NASA. There's a lot going on that they could really get involved with and hopefully move ahead.
Yeah, NASA's great. NASA's great about promoting those things. They're doing a whole bunch of stuff for kids all the time. Like, and it's really cool to see, because especially for like younger kids, especially grade school and stuff like that, where the electives and the things that are offered is not typically STEM related.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's good to have these other outside organizations like really promoting that and getting kids in there, because if they get in there at a young age and they get fascinated with it, those are the people that are going to end up changing the world and end up leading the next generation.
No, the sky's the limit.
Man, so.
And NASA, there are numerous opportunities.
Yeah.
And I know, when the pandemic happened, they were doing like NASA at home. And they put out a bunch of online resources for kids to be doing like space themed, experiments.
I tried to promote that as much as I could, because I thought it was really important.
Yeah, it's so cool. And like if we can get kids started at a really young age being interested in STEM, and getting young girls interested in STEM, because it's such a male dominated field, getting more, young girls and young women involved in STEM, and getting them just doing like fun experiments at home. Steve, you have a daughter, can you imagine her like just going, oh yeah, I can get into STEM? Because for generations, girls didn't even consider STEM as like a viable option for them, and now you have women going into STEM at a record rate. Your wife works with NASA,
She sure does.
So what a time.
Yeah.
What a time.
No, that's what our goal at Third Rock is to really just expose, if you will, what NASA is up to, because they are doing so much, and it's unbelievable. And like you both said, it's constantly there. There's so many things going on there that you really need to check out.
I'm really excited for the James Webb Space Telescope.
Yes.
That's the thing.
Launching in December.
Dude, it's going to be awesome, man. It's supposed to be like, I forgot how many times stronger than the Hubble Space Telescope, but man, it's going to be epic, dude. We're going to see some crazy
Hubble
stuff.
ain't no slouch.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like hundreds of times better, like further it can see. Like, it's
when
insane.
you think about how long Hubble has been around, it's amazing to think that it's not some brand new thing, because you see the images that it returns, and you're like, this has been a thing for how long? Like, how is this? And so Webb is going to be...
But remember, when the Hubble launched, it was a failure.
Yeah.
They
had to go up there and work on it and shit.
It broke down, but they fixed it, and it's been running, solid ever since. But
imagine being one of those guys on the space shuttle, and they're like, hey, we're going to pull up outside the Hubble, and we need you to fix a refraction mirror on the inside of the space. Like, it's amazing what humans are doing. You know, the
Yeah.
fact that we have telescopes in space and stuff like that, really crazy. So we have that. James Webb is coming up. William Shatner, motherfucking Captain Kirk, just went to space via Blue Origin, which is insane because he's 90.
Yeah.
90.
I prefer to call him the Shat.
The Shat. Or the
All
price
right,
line
so I
negotiator.
have a question for y'all. How, I guess, I don't know, like how credible do you think it is to be like? Because I mean, he is only going up there for what, like 3 seconds, like into like that.
Zero.
Yeah.
Zero
Zero.
seconds. Do you think it's like how much do you compare that to like actually like going to the ISS or like
No, I
being
mean
a-
zero.
you know what I mean? Like, do you really count it as going to space, or just like
no,
you go up?
because it depends like what.
If it wasn't the Shat,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd give it less than zero. But it's
I mean, it should be appropriately labeled, and only some headlines do this. They call it the edge of space, which is what
Right.
it is. He didn't
Right.
go to space,
Right.
but it's William Shatner, so you better fucking say he went to space because he deserves it. But technically, yes, it is just the edge of space. I think Jeff Bezos didn't really go to space either. I think it's all just like some weird, really weird dick measuring contest between like him and the other billionaires.
It does seem like
Where he was
that.
like, we're going to launch 9 days before Elon Musk's ship goes up. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's insane that we're watching a new space race just between like a few guys that
Yeah.
are billionaires.
Yeah.
But no, it's not really space. You know,
I'm glad he got to do it. But
Yeah. I mean, it is
Yeah.
awesome being shot off
I mean,
in a
still
rocket
to
alone.
experience
Like,
zero G,
Yeah.
to see Earth from that high up,
Right.
it has to be an unbelievable experience.
Sure.
But no, it's not like being on the ISS
Right.
because they went. I think it was like, shit, I don't remember. X amount of kilometers above the ISS is 252 miles. It fluctuates, but
Mm-hmm.
on average, it's like a little over 200.
250.
Yeah, 250 miles above the Earth's surface. They weren't close to that at all.
Right.
You know, and so yeah, I don't really consider it space. I think like that's my barometer. The ISS and beyond, that's space to
That's
me.
what I think too.
If you're not doing that,
Yeah.
all right, let's go around the room. Would you go into space?
I think I would. I think I would. Yeah, I think
For
I'm-
an extended mission,
Hmm.
like let's say a week.
yeah, I would do it. Now
Okay.
I know Elon Musk has talked about like we're looking for candidates to be the first colonists on Mars. I don't think I'd do that
Yeah,
shit.
no.
But if it was like we'll fly up to the ISS, we'll just see how you do for a week, I would do it.
Okay, Adam.
Yeah, if at this moment, yes. If I have kids, then I'm like, that makes me
Because now
second
you really
guess.
have to be around for somebody.
Yeah, because if there's a real possibility I could die, then I'm like, But right now, yeah, I would definitely do it. I would
Okay.
definitely do it.
Steve, you going to space?
I think I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, but on like you said,
Yeah.
I would not want to do like this colony thing. But I would go
you're
to the
You're
ISS.
going to live in a biodome, and we don't know how to get you back to Earth. So
You'd be
yeah.
living off of potatoes and Tang.
Yeah. Really? Yeah.
Tang is good. I don't know
Do
if
they
y'all
still sell it?
I don't know.
Oh, I remember Tang. I used to love that
Tang
shit.
was damn good.
The orangutan on the front.
I remember the commercials were hilarious.
It was so good though.
Yeah.
And like as a little kid, for some reason I like thought it was orange juice.
No,
I realize now it's just like orange drink, but it's pretty damn tasty. And it's still, the last time I had it was maybe like 5 years ago. It still tasted the same,
Yeah.
but I haven't seen it on shelves.
Yeah. Now here's what I would do no matter what. Like I can't wait for like satellite flights just to be readily available. Just take a couple orbits around the Earth and then land.
Yeah.
Like I think that's feasible in the next like 40, 50 years.
Oh, for sure. At a reasonable price.
You know what
Now
I mean?
it's like you can go with, Branson's company or whatever,
Yeah.
but it's like $1.5 million a seat
Exactly,
or something
yeah.
insane. I don't know what the number is, but it's
Yeah.
some amount of money I'll never possess.
Yeah.
But eventually, 50 years from now, you
Yeah,
know?
because then you think about like now we can land rockets. So like if you have a rocket
Yeah,
that's
reusable
readily
boosters,
reusable,
sure.
Yeah, and then I mean think about how like efficient that would be. You could save a
Yeah.
lot of money doing that.
Well, and eventually they're talking about the idea of, flying from like New York to Beijing, but taking a low Earth orbit route so you're getting there in like 3 hours or something so stupid short, like you're
Right.
flying
Because Mach 1
to the other
speed.
side of Earth. You're going up and you're just traveling at such a speed up high and then coming back down that you get to the other side of the planet in like a fraction of the time you would via airplane. So that I think will happen in our lifetime. I think We will probably go to low Earth orbit. Steve, your kids might go to the moon.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Who
Look at the
knows?
kids. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, if you listen to Elon Musk, he's like, we're going next week. Like, his timelines are so insane. He's like, humans will be traversing back and forth to Mars within the next 10 years. And it's like, dude, no, we won't. That's insane. But, I mean, whatever gets more investors, I guess, right? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, space is really crazy. We're living in a crazy time, and it's really cool to see real life start to imitate science fiction. You know?
And you can hear all about it at thirdrockradio.net.
That's
I
right.
was just about to say, like, where's the plug?
Or
We
on
need
the
plug.
NASA website or the NASA app.
Yeah.
Which is very cool. That we're on the
NASA.gov.
NASA app. Yep, NASA.gov. Super cool. What have we got? Oh, I don't know if we can tease this, but we got anything special coming up for the 10-year anniversary that you can tease to folks? You don't have to give
Yes.
anything away, but
Yes, we do.
Okay.
But I cannot
stay tuned. is
tell
all
you
we'll
anything.
say.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much.
All right.
No, we have some cool things coming because bottom line is we've done broadcasts from the International Space Station.
That's
We've done a
insane.
lot of great stuff, and we're going to kind of give you some time capsules, if you will, and just relive some of those great events. And also, we have some special guests coming on, and we'll go from there.
It's going to be fun.
That show we did from the ISS, the Joe Show with astronaut Joe Acaba, that was like a couple months after I started working here.
Yeah.
And I was like, where the fuck do I work? What is this? You know, like, well, I've never heard of this company, and they're talking to astronauts, and it's just going out to thousands.
And the beauty of it is that he's way up there.
He was up there.
And
yeah.
we are going back and forth with him.
And he was actually just a really cool guy.
Oh, he's very cool.
Yeah.
I've met him in person. He's a very nice guy, very humble, but I mean, it's like, dude,
I know.
you've been
I know.
You've been like we were talking about earlier about meeting rock stars or astronauts. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
He's an astronaut.
I mean, I remember a couple of years ago, you and me and Donna McKenzie, we went to Johnson Space Center for NASA's open house they did out there, and we did a live broadcast from there. And we got to talk to a few astronauts, and I got Mark Vandehei to sign my NASA cap, and I'm standing there like a fucking 8-year-old at a ball game, like, sign my hat, sir, please, you know? And he did, and he was just super cool, but it's just like they have this cool about them when they like walk into the room.
They have this aura.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they've been in space.
I'm shaking his hand. And I'm like, this hand has been in space. This hand has been on the
I
ISS.
know it sounds
turning
weird,
knobs
but
and shit.
just-
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a space nerd at heart, and
Yeah.
I just some of these people. I mean, they're not only fiercely intelligent, but they're just nice people. And
Yeah.
it's like you would never.
You kind of like it forces you to be humble. I think like those guys
Yeah.
who see the planet from that far, you hear them talk about it. Like when they first see
Life-changing.
when they first see the Earth from space, I mean, immediately humbles you. It has to, right? You just don't have an option to be like, wow, that's where I live. Like,
Well, that's what William Shatner was saying.
Yeah.
You know, he was saying that you get up there and
Excuse me, it's the
Shat.
the
The
Shat. That's what the Shat was saying. You know,
Thank you.
when you get up there and you see Earth with no man-made border lines, you know, like because you look at it on a globe or a map and you see all these countries are broken up
and
by
they're
these
on colors and green
bullshit
and blue.
lines that we have created, but it's like, you know, why are we going to war? Look, we're all down here on this goddamn blue marble. Like, what are we doing? You know? And so he shared like some really profound experiences, and he was like weeping, and it's just moving. And these guys were up there looking at Earth like that for months on end, you know?
Some of them years.
Yeah. And then they come down here and they're also just a cool person to have a beer with, you know? So, yeah, they're almost like superheroes or something. It's really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right. So, you know, we're getting to the point where we usually wrap up. Did you have anything for Steve before we get on out of here?
I just want to say thanks for coming on and
Yeah,
Oh,
thank you
man.
for
sharing
coming.
your
Thank you
stories
guys.
and being so nice and generous with the time.
That's
So,
what we do.
Yeah. If you had any advice for someone that wanted to get into radio or someone
Don't
that
do
was,
it.
Damn. On that depressing note, no. Yeah, but I mean, no, seriously though.
No, the most important thing I would tell anyone out there who wants to get into radio is to get an internship. Period. Get an internship. I in this day and age, I don't know if radio stations still offer internships. That's how I got my start. I was able to work for the summer for a radio station. Again, I was an intern. I wasn't getting paid. I was just, learning the ropes. And I took advantage of it. I worked with the promotions department, the production department, the on-air department, and I would just kind of see what they were doing. And I was fortunate enough because after my summer internship, I went back to school, and when I got home, they called me and they said, "Hey, we have a position."
Yeah.
It was part-time, and I worked for $5 an hour for 2 years, but I loved it, and I would do it again today.
Yeah.
I mean, because radio was in my blood, and that's what I wanted to do. But that's what I would suggest to anyone out there is just get an internship.
Yeah.
Paid or non-paid, just take advantage of an opportunity.
Right.
But again, with COVID and everything else, I don't even know if they're offering
I know, it's so
internships
crazy
anymore.
A lot of companies are limiting the amount of, in-person interviews they're doing, or like just the people that they bring into the. I mean, my girlfriend, when she moved down to Houston, it was the middle of the pandemic, and she tried to get a job at KPRC, and like the pandemic broke out right after they had scheduled her interview, and they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna have to like cancel. We're not hiring any new people, period." And then when she finally got an interview, it was months later, and it was over Zoom, and then she had to go through all this shit before she could even come up to the station. It's a very weird time to try and get a job.
Yeah.
Very strange time, let alone an internship, because you're like the most non-essential person they could bring in.
Yeah, it's rough.
So it's hard. It is hard, but worth it, because I started here as an intern, and I was fresh out of college, and here I am just getting to talk to people that have been in the business 20 years, 30 years. Shit, Pat's been in the business 50 plus years.
I mean, his whole life.
Yeah, his whole life. And I'm like getting to just like come up here, bringing my lunch to this office where I'm talking to Radio Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
So I cannot stress enough, as a previous intern myself, internships are extremely valuable.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I guess that's a good high note to go out on.
And if you become an intern, don't suck.
Yeah.
All right. Really take it. And I'm not trying to be a smart ass.
a lot
but
of interns
No,
suck.
a lot of interns I've had have been horrible because they don't care. It's like, if you really want to do this, invest into it.
Bust your ass.
Yeah.
And, really get down and show how bad you want it, right?
Yep.
That's what it's for.
That's what it's for.
All right.
Well, until next time, folks, get interested in space, listen to the radio, go to a good concert, and go Astros. You guys take care and stay safe out
Go
there
Astros.
in the cosmos. Peace, y'all.
Peace.